Hey guys, it's me again. How you going? I know it's been a while since my last video. Sorry about that. Been a bit busy with a lot of other projects and things. But here we are inside the Focus again. But this time, what I'm dealing with, a little problem with the heater, is the actual heater climate control knob wasn't working properly and I wasn't getting any heat, and I was wondering why. And what it was doing, the little knob that when you turned it, it would then automatically just spring itself into that position there like that. So just to give you an idea of how this whole little unit works, there's your little cable there that comes from the, well, goes into the heater, goes in the back of your climate control unit, which is this. And what can happen is, like, if the flap inside the blower unit just gets a little stiff, what will happen is you go and push this and this little cable will just sort of kink upwards. It'll get like an upwards kink in it, so like that. And what happens is the actual flap doesn't open and close. So what I find works, if you actually get this little cable, and if I can just get this off with my hand, there we go, get that off like that, so you can now what you can also do now, hang on, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to remove this little unit here that you can just see there. I'll just zoom in so you can see it. But you just use a screwdriver to push that little clip in to get it out. I'm just going to do that. I just need two hands to do that. I'll be back in one little second. Okay, I'm back. Alright, okay, so I've since removed that. It's just a little spring-loaded clip and that just pops straight out. So if you're ever having this issue, it's a matter of just then getting hold of this cable and just opening and closing the heater unit like that, and you just give that a bit of a pull. You can hear it's a bit hard with one hand, but we can just sort of push this in, and what happens is there's a little flap inside the climate control. There we go, so that's all the way in, and what that does, that opens and shuts, and that allows you to open and close the flap for the heater. And if that doesn't open and close, you're not going to get any hot air. So it's just a common problem. Sometimes, as you can see, there's a slight bit of a kink in that little cable, so you can just give that bit of a bend, just get rid of that kink out of it. And it's a common little problem that happens with these. If the heater flap gets a bit stiff, it's just a matter of just giving that a few opens and closes every now and then, and that will fix your problem, which it has with mine. So now I'm getting heat coming through now, and it's a lot better, especially in winter when it's really, really cold and you need a bit of heat. But yeah, it's just a matter of actually undoing. There's a couple of plugs there, but what I'll do is I'll also do a video after this. I'll add this, well, I'll add to the video how to get this all out and how to get it apart. Hey guys, how you going? Okay, me again. Now, I did actually say I was going to add in a section where I'm going to show you piece by piece how to take this all apart. Now, this is your stereo surround, as you can see here. Best way to get that off, just with these obviously, what you do, start off with down the bottom here. There's a section here where you can just get your fingers in between those two areas like that. That's a matter of just gently just giving that a bit of a pull like that, and that'll just pop out. And then work your way around until you can just, oh, there we go, straight off like that. That's what you want. Okay. Now, next thing is I'm just going to grab the camera quickly. Oh, okay. Let's have a look at what it looks like here. So, sorry, I've got a real big tripod and it's just going all over the place. Here we go. So when you look here, you've got your screws either side. You've got 4 screws for the stereo, and you then also got little screws there for your climate control. And then underneath, sorry, just can't get the angle right here, but there is 2 other screws here and here, which you can't quite see with the angle there. Actually, what I'll do is I'm just going to take this out of the tripod for a second, just so we can show you. Here we go. So there you go. There's your other 2 screws there. There's, sorry, this one down the bottom. So there's 2. So this helps you to remove this unit here. There's normally a lot of other buttons. Mine just has a demister. So you've got 2 screws there for your climate control, and then 4 for the stereo. So we're going to do exactly that. Just had to set up my tripod again, but first of all we start off just by undoing our little screws here around your radio. Just loosen them off enough just so they come straight out like so. So you had a little long screw, you got 4 of those, and then all of these other ones that you see down here, they're all a bit shorter, but they're all the same size. So if you ever get your screws mixed up, don't worry, your 4 big ones are to do with your stereo. Best way to remember it, oh, and just to let you know, it's a, what am I using? A Torx 20 piece to undo these, just to let you know. So if you're wondering what size socket you need, that's the one you want. Okay, there we go. I'll just undo all these and we'll get this stereo out. And you will need to disconnect your stereo too to be able to get to where you need to get to. So it's important that you know your code for your stereo, because it will need a 4-digit code to get it reactivated again. Usually if you get stuck, Ford can normally help you with that. Okay, well, just a matter of pulling this out. There we go, gentle pull and that whole thing will just come out. And then what we've got here is a couple of plugs we need to undo, and we'll show you how to do that. Okay, so what we need to do is we have the antenna, which is this little guy here, and then you've got your main one here. I've already got that sort of loosened. There is a clip that does actually undo to get that little arm out to unplug it. So it's just your antenna, gentle pull, and then just a matter, oh, that one's already come out. I'll just loosen a few things just to make it easier so I can show you guys how it all works. And then it's just a matter of pulling this one up, and that will just undo the stereo plug like so. There we go, it's a bit stiff to get out, but there you go, there it is, it's a big sucker. Look at that. And if you're wondering what that big knob is, that's your stabilizer. What that does, if you can see, there's a little hole, that hole right there, that goes into that little hole there. And what that does, that just basically takes your bumps out of your music, so it stops your stereo from skipping when you're going over bumps. There we go. Okay, so you'll end up with this now. So what we'll do now is we will just very carefully remove the screws. I can probably just do that right here, actually. I can do that while I'm holding this at the same time. I'll just loosen those screws out. Sorry, my feet are in the shot. Okay, so I'll just undo those heads with this finger loose. So once again, T20 for these ones again. They're all the same size. And these screws are just a little bit shorter, so you don't have to worry about getting them mixed up and thinking, oh no, where did that screw go? Something I have done before. I'm wondering why a screw goes in easily in and another screw doesn't want to go in. It's like, wait a second, I think we've got our screws mixed up. Uh-oh. Like I was saying, they're just a little bit shorter. Just to give you an idea, hang on, let me just get a couple of these screws. There you go. That's your size difference. It gives you an idea. Probably not vitally important for me to show you that, but it just helps when you're doing this kind of stuff. It's just easy to just get all your screws out of the way. Sorry about the whole camera wobble and everything. It's a trouble when you're holding it with one hand. Okay, now with this little unit, it's just a matter of giving that a gentle bit of a pull and it should just click out. Sometimes a bit easier than usual. Ah, there we go, that's it. Okay. And then with this little thing, you've got this little red clip that you can see there. Just a matter of then just getting your fingernail under that. That normally will just lift up like so. And then you can just get your finger in there. Actually, you should be able to then just get your finger in there and undo it. Okay. It normally comes out a bit easier than that. But there's another little tab there to stick your finger in. Ah, there we go, got it. And that'll just come out easy like that. Just tuck that away in there. And there you go, there's that unit. Normally higher range models have a lot more buttons on them. But mine's just got a demi-style. And that's just little blank panels that are in there. Okay, now for this, the main important part is getting this part out. Now this is the tricky part. Now if you've noticed, with the selector here, the duct selector, I've got that positioned in the upright position. The reason for that, if you look in here, see that unit there that's rotating? That's your cable that runs from here to the blower unit. There's another connection there which is just behind the dashboard unit there. But if you put that into a default position, it makes it much easier, and of course it just sits in the correct position when you need to put it back in again. Now the trick is, what we need to do, these are the most trickiest things to get out. I should hopefully be able to do this with one hand. So best way to do it is to push the left side in like so, and what you want to do, these are really difficult to get out, they're not easy, is to try and free the right side, as you can see here. And here we go, see how that's just coming out now? And then that will just pop out. Now you can see what I mean by the default position. It's a bit like an asterisk with a little flat section. Okay, so what I've also done to make it easier for myself, I've just left, now there's a couple of connectors here. Now I've made them easy to get out for myself, so you just basically just push the top down here to undo that one. And there's another one here, you just push the little trigger underneath and that'll pull that one out. And then like I was saying before, with your screwdriver one, where you just use a screwdriver to get that in there, I might just be able to do that for you actually. Hang on, let's have a look here. Let's see how talented I am, see if I can actually get it off with one hand. Yeah, what do you reckon? Okay, swap hands. Oh, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to put the screwdriver on. Actually, I'll get a better view here. Sorry guys, I know it's pretty poor camera work. But as you can see, there's a little tab there that you just push in. So what I'm going to try and do is get that into there, and that should hopefully just pop out. Ah, like that. Oh, look at that, yay! And that'll just pull out like that, and that'll make it easier then for you to undo this little guy here. Oh, okay, sorry, the whole thing's just coming out. Oh, there we go, so there we have it. Okay, there's our unit. There's our unit. Okay, I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. Sorry. So probably when you try and use hands when you're trying to film something. But that's what your unit looks like. Quite a simple little unit. And like I was saying before, the duct selector, it looks like a little asterisk with a flat bottom. A flat bottom. There you go. Okay, so like I was saying before, to fix this problem is to push that in and out, and that'll fix your issue with your heater. And then, yeah, look at that, there we go. See, it's a bit easier now. You can hear that opening and closing. And what was happening is when you get to select the heater, see, that's easier for me to push in now. See, if it wasn't working before, when you go to push it in, the cable will just go into a kink like that, if you can imagine that bending a bit like that, and that's what it was doing. And it just wasn't working the heater at all. So if you ever encounter that problem with your heater not working on the, sorry, noisy car in the background there. So if you ever encounter that problem where you're not getting any heat and the heat selector is not working properly, I would guarantee that it's to do with the flap inside the blower unit has just got itself a bit, I don't know, stiff or gunked up or whatever. It does happen, and it's just a matter now of, as you can see, that's a lot easier to push in and out. See, look at that. See, I can just push that in and out very easily now. So that heater will work properly. That's nice. There you go. So you can hear that heater flap opening and closing. So there you go, guys. If you ever encounter that problem actually, you know what? I'm pretty confident that these are the same ones on a lot of autofocuses on this shape, which is like the LT series 2 and the LV and the LV series 2. I'm pretty sure that that's basically the same one that's used all the way through. But mine's the LT series 1, which came out in 2009. But hopefully this helps with you guys. And then basically the assembly is just the reverse of what you saw in this video. All right, thanks for watching. Oh, and make sure you subscribe to my channel and select the bell. I don't have many videos at the moment, but it is getting bigger, I guess. But yeah, keep an eye out for any new videos that I've got, and thanks for watching. Okay, guys, I know I ended the video and everything, but what I'm going to do, I'm just going to give you the view of, well, there you go, I can actually show you that now. Look at that, that's a bit easier. See, I can do two hands, just like that. But what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go through and put everything all back together. I know I'm a bit of a stickler like that. I like watching things being put back together as well. So I'll be nice and I'll show the whole process in reverse and putting the whole thing back together. And it's something I like watching too. I like watching something being taken apart and then watching it being put back together again, because it's just not the same without that. So I don't know, it's only just me like that, but I don't know, is there other people out there like that who like watching things get put back together as well as being taken apart? I know I do. Anyway, okay. All right, let's get on with it. So here's our little climate control unit. There's our little, that's basically how the heater works. Look at that. I can actually show you all this now because I've got two hands. I can show you how it all does its thing. So there you go. How cool is that? That's just your fan selector, and then that one's for the duct. So we'll keep that in the default position. Okay, so first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to whack our heater cable back on, and the best way to do that is open that up. So it's opened up like that. Get your little loop, which is a little loop on the end there. We're going to attach that loop first. So it's easy to do this first, because otherwise if you try and attach this first and then put that in, we end up getting a bit of a bow or a loop in that, like a bit of a bow in that cable. And every time you go to use it, that cable's just going to bow. It's going to get a bow in it, and you want to try and avoid that. So what we're going to do is attach that onto there, and because we've got that fully extended, we can then just gather that in and then click. Look at that, there we go. And as you can see, that's going in and out nice and smooth. Look at that. That's how you want that to work. Nice. There you go, better view there. And there we go. As you can see, it's not, because what it was doing before, because it was bowing up, I'd go to close it and then it was kind of doing, I don't know, it was like springing back, like that, it was springing back. So if you ever have that issue, I guarantee it is this little cable here, that's your problem. And because the heater core flap has just got itself stiff. Okay, too much talking, let's get on with it. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to attach this little plug, attach this one to the back, like so, click that in. So that one's all your selectors, and then this one is to do with your fan. So it just clicks back in, and that's all your climate control all set up. Now what we're going to do now is we're going to push this into our little position that we had. It's always like a weird angle position, you've got to get this in and out. It's just the way that Ford's designed it. A lot of people have had trouble getting these out, but this is the most simplest way to do it. Put the left side in angle like so, and then before you do that, get your little cable here and just push that into the end like that. And what will happen is, as you push this in and get that in around there, there you go, that's just slid into position. And now we can now bring this to the front and then click that in. There you go. Voila. And now we can now use that now. So that's now moving around beautifully. Okay, so that's all connected in. And your heater's working there, as you can see. So your heater's all working. So lovely. Next we can just put our little bottom panel in there, and that's our little plug here. We're just going to push that in and then push your little red tab back down. And then, oh, you're wondering what that cable is. That's to do with my dash cam, because I had a little plug put in, just threaded it through the dash just to make it neater. That's all that is. And then all we do then is to push this in, and that'll just clip back into position like so. Nice and neat, like that. Okay, next thing is our stereo. Yes, it looks simple. I mean, it looks complicated when you... Oh, okay, just a bit of tape fell off. I don't know where that came from. Anyway, it looks simple. It looks complicated, but when you see someone doing it, or working on it, it's really not that complicated at all. It's kind of simple. Okay, now next bit is to put our stereo back in. There you go. There's our big. We get a better view of the back there now. There's your little 10 amp fuse. That's your antenna, and there's your main connector on the back there. Love these little stereos. They're so good. This is still the original stereo from when I first bought it. It's still going well. So anyway, what we're going to do is make sure that that is open. That's your little lever. And then what we're going to do then, probably can't see this from this angle, but you just guide that connector in. And then what you do now is you push that down and that'll click. I'll just turn it around just so you can see that. There it is, that's all clicked in. And then all that's left to do now is to put our antenna cable in. There we go. I don't think it can't quite turn it around and show you, but you can see where that's going. Now, let's just pop the stereo back in like so. And then it'll just slide straight in like that. There's a couple of little black little plastic tabs either side. Make sure it's guided onto that. Now we're going to get our 4 long screws for our stereo. I've got 3 there. 1 more would be good. There we go. So there we go. There's our screws. And just with your fingers, just gently just put those in like so. One by one. I know some people are probably thinking, okay, this is just dragging on a bit. But then there's other people out there who just love watching things being put back together after being taken apart. Personally, I'm one of those people. And then your little short screws are just going to go back in here. It's kind of fun. I love when something comes back together. It's one of those things that's fun to do. And just your 2 bottom ones below your climate control unit. Just go down the bottom. And then what we're going to do now with the screwdriver, we're just going to tighten all these up. Would help we have the correct piece. Oh, here we go, because that was me undoing the other cable before. Now we can just tighten those up now. Now they don't have to be overly tight. Don't over tighten these. Not a good idea to over tighten them. Just tighten them so you've just got a little bit of torque on them. I mean, if you really want to torque them, it's probably around about maybe 5 Newton meters if you really want to be fussy. It wouldn't be any more than 5. You wouldn't need to any more than that if you're talking about torque. Talking about torque. There we go. And there's your stereo in. So your stereo is all fully in now. Now just for your 2 on your climate control unit. That just pulls it back up against the framework of the dashboard. As you can see, that's just loose. And once that tightens up, that's nice and firm. And the same with this bottom one. These are probably a little bit stiffer, but and then once again, don't over tighten them. Just enough so you know they just feel tight. Okay, screws are done. Now all left to do is to put our face unit on now. Put the face on. Okay, now as you can see, there's your two main master clips down the bottom, and then you just got your usual little plastic ones that just sort of go into there like that. And you just sort of guide your two bottom ones in first, so you just sort of get it all lined up. It's a matter of just lining it up, and then just sort of work your way around. Get the bottom in first, and then the top. That's okay, I've just activated the hazard lights. And what's really weird is doing something with the stereo there. Not sure what's going on there. Okay. So anyway, we're going to turn that on. And of course, you've got to put your code in. So I'm going to put my code in. Now I'm just going to put my hand here because I don't want people to see my code. Okay, so that's just for privacy reasons. Where are we? Radio unlocked. There we go. It's a bit like you don't want to go showing your keycard number on YouTube, do you? Okay, so that's all done now. So that's all fully fixed up. That's all ready, set, go. There's your fan and the heater. Yeah, that's beautiful. Now look at that. See how it's not spinning back now. So you just do a bit of a quick little check just to make sure everything's all working. And then what we'll do, we're just going to turn on the ignition. And okay, well that's a good sign. So your fresh air flap is working. Turn the engine on. We're not getting any aircon. What's going on there? It's interesting. Oh, here we go. Now it's working. I was a bit worried then. I'm thinking, hang on, what's going on? Okay. Well, that's good. Aircon works. We're just going to test our heater. I had it running before. Yeah, we go. Now we're getting hot air. Fantastic. That's all working. Beautiful. And there we have it. There we have it. Everything is all working. Just curious as to why that's not doing its thing. We'll have to have a bit of a look in there and see what's going on there. Oh, that's why. The fan's turned off. It does help to have the fan turned on to get that working. So, as per usual. Oh, there we go. Our demister function is working. So that turns your fresh air off, turns your aircon on. There we go. So all of our functions are working beautifully. And there we have it. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that video. But if you have any issues with your heater and your heater's not working on your focus, I would guarantee that's what your problem is. Alright, thanks for watching.